Alright, so in this video we're going to try to talk about the Desmos image graphs. If you were out, maybe you need to catch up, maybe you weren't having a good day. So I'm gonna try to run through all the basics, so in case you need to brush up on the skills. We'll start with this assignment in Google Classroom, okay? In order to make an image graph though, you need to learn the basics of how to use an image graph. So I'll try to, in this video, do one of each type, alright, to show you guys how it should look. But first off, let's jump into a picture, right? So I'm just going to delete that one and I'll start again, all right? So we'll go to add an item. So just jump into desmos.com/calculator and go to image, right? This means you have to save your image to your Google Drive. Otherwise, you can't use it, right? So you can't just copy and paste it. So make sure you save it to your Google Drive and then open it up, okay? It should open up here. Now, this all depends on what you intend to make, all right? With this one, I'm going to start off with a translation, right? And so I can see that, maybe I could resize this picture a little bit and try to get these, some of these markings to land perfectly, maybe right there on 2. All right, so that looks pretty good to me, all right? So again, I just resized it so that this door happened to line up right with 2 and -2. This is going to make making our points really simple. Okay, so to make my points, I'm going to start off making a point that's 2, 0, and notice that it's right here. Alright, it's in blue. Let's change it to green. Let's see if that stands out against this background. It looks like I can see it enough for now. Alright, so we'll leave that. And then we're going to add a label. So we'll check this box and we'll add a label, and we'll label this as point A because it's point A. Alright, then we'll go in here and point B. We'll make another one. Alright, let's call point B, let's go right here. Alright, so let's see what that value would be. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more than 1, so we'll try 1 and 0. And then we can see it's a little bit more to the side, so I'm going to have to drag this over to look at where it is. And I want to make a rectangle, right? So I want this to be 0, so that's what you got to watch out for. Sometimes when you're readjusting your points, you'll see it moves a little bit. Alright, 1.23 is a little bit too precise. What about 1.2? Okay, that'll work. That's right there where it needs to be. Okay, so now we got a decent start, and now I want to put a point up here. Of course, I should label this one as B. Okay, all I'm trying to do is get myself a rectangle right now, and the reason I'm getting a rectangle is because I've observed that it's actually, going to get moved to become this rectangle over here. They look to be exactly the same size. So I'm going to show a translation in this example, all right? This point right here looks like it's a little bit less than 2, so for now I'm going to put in 1.2, right? And then we'll put comma 2, okay? And then you can see that this point is a little too high. So we'll bring it down a little bit. So what if I lower that value to like 1.8? Then we can see it's brought down a little bit closer. Right? What if I do 1.7? Maybe it went down a little bit too far, so now like 1.75 looks decent. Okay, we can take a look at it. And again, that looks like it's in the right place. All right, so we can go add, we should label it as C too. And then let's go and make point D. Okay, and in this case we know our x coordinate is going to be 2, and because our y coordinate was 1.75, we'll put that one there. And now this should be a right angle in every single case. So we have a rectangle. I'll change all of these colors to green to represent, again, usually the green light means go, so this is where we began with this green rectangle. Again, I should label this point as D, okay, because I'm trying to make this process easy to understand. All right, so we do the polygon. Now what I want to do is the polygon A and B. Notice it connects A and B. You see that? Then when I add C, it goes to C. Okay, and then when I add D, it'll connect C to D, and it kind of completes this whole cycle of the shape going around, right? So we have our A, B, C, D. Okay, notice that. Now what I want to do is I want to get my A prime, my B prime, my C prime, my D prime. So I'm actually going to copy all of these points, and I'm going to try to show you guys what's happening. Okay, so I'm going to copy A, I'm going to copy B, and this is going to give us a problem at first, but we'll change it in a second and see what I mean. So I'm just copying and pasting all of my coordinates of A, B, C, and D. And you'll see in a second why I'm copying and pasting to save time. Okay, so now we want to relabel these points. So we already did A, B, C, and D. Okay, so what I actually want to do now is I want to have E, F, G, and H. Okay, and the reason is because we cannot type A prime. Alright, I want E to actually be A prime, but we can't. Look at this error that it gives us. Okay, so to do an A prime, we'll have to just call it E. We have to call it a different letter for the computer. but then we can go label it correctly as A prime when we want, okay? So what I want to do is I want to push A prime all the way over here. I want it to be not reflected, okay? So notice that A is on the bottom right, so if I translate this shape, it should still stay on the bottom right there, right? Okay, you got that? So we can see that A is going to be here, but B is going to go all the way to that spot right there. So I think we know exactly where B is going to be, so we'll fix that in a second. All right, so like I said, we got E is A prime, so we'll call B is actually going to be called F, and then we'll label this as B prime, right? Okay, this is going to be C prime, right? But we're going to change the name to G because we have to pick a different letter. Okay, and then we'll call this one H. But again, when we label it, this one is going to be D prime. Okay, now notice that all of our points are on top of the old ones because they have the same coordinates, so we want to fix that, all right? Now, let's figure out what's going on. To turn A prime, to get A prime to be right here, it looks like we want that coordinate to be exactly 0, right? And then it looks like maybe we could go a little bit farther to the left. So 1.2 sounds pretty good, okay? So we like 1.20 for A prime right here. You see that? Now what about B? What's B prime going to be? Well, B prime should be right here. It should be at -2 and 0. So again, this is the point that's B prime. So I'm going to change that to say -2, okay? Now, let's notice what happened about all of our points. So far, A, how many points did that move to the left? All right, A was at 2. It was at 2. But now A prime is at -1.2. So how many steps did it take to the right? Yeah. Well, I'm going to draw on top of this paper, on top of this picture, for the sake of us learning something, right? A started here, and A prime went over here. So how many steps did that take in total? Well, as we can see, this is -1.2, right? And this is 2. So think about it. From here to here, I take 2 steps, right? And then I take another 1.2. So that means I took a total of 3.2 steps to the left, right? So that means I have to subtract, because I'm going to the left, right? I got to subtract 3.2 from all of my x coordinates. That's what I have to take away from each of them. Okay? So let's go do that, right? Again, because we're only translating left, that means none of the y coordinates should change ever. Okay? So if I go look at this, all my y coordinates are the same. I just have to change my x coordinates. Now A prime and B prime are already perfect. So if you've been paying attention, what do I have to do now to get G, right? And I was just trying to show you guys that I would have to subtract 3.2 from 1.2, right? And 1.2 minus 3.2, if you guys look up here in the tax bar, all right, 1.2 minus 3.2 is -2. So that's why I'm going to change this value to -2, okay? So we're moving everything according to the translation, right? Okay, now H, where's H going to move? That's D prime, right? So D prime also has to move -3.2. So if I do 2 minus 3.2, what do I get? What's 2 minus 3.2? Well, 2 minus 3.2 is -1.2. So I want to change this to say -1.2. And now look at how we have this polygon. Okay, we have our other polygon, and now if I go in here and say polygon E, F, G, H, you can see that we have our 2 polygons, but this one I'll change. Well, there we go, that's red, that's fine. Okay, so I wanted this polygon, I think, to be green. All right, to show that this was the beginning and that this other one was the end. All right, so in this case, we have a pretty solid idea of what's happening. I hope you guys can understand the procedure, all right, for a translation. And again, I'm changing all the colors here for the red to be the end, so the image will be red and the pre-image will be green. Alright, so here we go. There you got it. This is an example of how to do a translation, okay? All of my points are correct, and if I want to take a screenshot, I can do that easily now, alright?